No team in the world
feel it.
that can smell blood in the water like Real Madrid. And once they get a whiff of that, they're ravenous. You won't walk out of there alive. And especially if you're cutting yourself and saying, here, let's make the waters murky with my own blood, it's a self-inflicted wound. How else do you take that? You walk out on the field and you see that, you say, all right, this is how we're going to do it. For a player like Vinicius, who was a Ballon d'Or candidate, who you know is one of the best in the world, and you do that, it feels premature.
It's crazy, you know, to give him more motivation that he probably already has is crazy.
If you're a fan of Manchester
But it was fun.
City,
we enjoyed it.
Aren't you thinking a bit, we could jinx him and really get him going for today? I mean, wouldn't you be a little bit worried it has the opposite effect, Nigel, than that's not worth the dig?
Do you know what? I've been watching Vinicius Junior for so long. I don't think he's a player that has any self-doubt whatsoever. I think he's so self-aware. I don't think this would actually motivate him more to want to play and have an amazing game. Like, I think he would say it. I don't think it will motivate him more. I think he already knows what it is. Every game he goes in for, he goes in with an attitude of, I'm going to show you that I'm the best player in the world. I don't think that does anything to motivate him even more so. It's a bit of reverse psychology. I know we've all been through it when playing in the games, that sometimes when you're young coming through, a manager will use it against you. Oh, he said that. It worked once or twice when I was young. After that, it just reverse psychology doesn't work.
Were you motivated the same for every game?
Every game, I was motivated because my mindset was checklist of what I have to do in a game, what I need to do, and what the best players in the world do. That's how I went in.
At the highest level?
Highest level, didn't care. Didn't care whether it was playing
every game.
Old Trafford, Medway,
twice a week.
All the time.
Were you, Grella?
It did not shake me.
Biggest problem for me. Biggest problem for me. To be motivated all the time.
How come?
Because it's difficult, you know? You have to go there, you have to prepare, you have to be ready. It's so much, you know. There's so many things. Obviously, it's different. You play in a Champions League night, or you know, or you're playing in Old Trafford, or you're playing whatever big moment. Okay, fine. You don't need that motivation.
But the thing is, as I said, but you need.
But every single week, of course, you need motivation.
In your position, if you know exactly what you have to do.
You like playing football that much?
I love playing football. I was a student of the game. But if you know what is expected from you week in, week out.
But Nigel, even on a cold, rainy, as they say, away night in Stoke on a Tuesday and it's pouring.
Nothing changes in the mindset of, I know what I need to do to have a good game. So
basically what you're saying is he's the ultimate professional.
No, it's not about hold on. It's not about being the ultimate professional. It's just mindset. That's what people say. I always talk about intelligent footballers and intelligent play. That plays part of it. It's the mental side of it of every game you go in, I have a checklist of what I need to do as a player to come off that pitch to say, I had a good game. So it was just the mindset and the psychological warfare when you go into it week in, week out. I look at Vinicius Junior now, you see it. There's an arrogance about him. Some people don't like it. They think he's too arrogant or he's too this. No, it's a self-confidence of, I am one of the best players in world football. I embrace that. I'm at Real Madrid and I'm going to show you and do it. So I think the whole tifo thing, I don't think that's going to motivate him more because he already knows going into it.
And if it doesn't, what you don't see in Vinicius is complacency, especially after last season. I think the fact that he didn't win the Ballon d'Or, maybe that pushed him a little bit forward towards, all right, that wasn't good enough. Let me show you what I can do. I think there's parts of his game, the complaining to the referees, it's getting a little bit out of hand. I think that the fact that he argues so much with everybody around him, I think that takes away from the class that he has on the pitch, his skill, period, his quality, because he has supreme quality. You could say superlative quality.
But doesn't that just come with the emotion that he has sometimes in the moment?
But sometimes it detracts.
But that's the thing, though, because some people would look at it and say he's passionate, and some people use a different word to describe it. Oh, he's arrogant, he's this, he's that. So it just depends on who's saying it and what part of the media it's coming from.
It's palpable with Manchester City. They go up, and then you say, all right, 10 minutes left. You would have never seen a goalkeeper make that type of mistake that Ederson makes for the 2-2. That is wildly uncharacteristic from any Manchester City player. I said it on Golazo Show.
I wouldn't say it's uncharacteristic, though, because he's made a mistake as well already.
This season, but hold up, let's put this season aside. In any other year, you would say, we're talking about the best goalkeeper in the world. Today, he made a Sunday school mistake, a Sunday league mistake. It is so bad. I mean, this is the goal that he concedes, but if we can bring it back from the distribution, because he had the ball in his hands. From the moment he distributes,
2-1. It's not
even 7 seconds. If we can go back and find that play, because he's standing at the edge of his box.
That's
Grella, they teach you this in what? when you're in U9s, when the goalkeeper has the ball.
I never went to goalkeeper.
Okay, no, I get it. But for your team to see a game out, what do you do? You have someone receive the ball to feet, secure the ball, and we're talking about, and this is why I feel kind of awkward doing this, like a breakdown of a Pep Guardiola side. They've taken the lead 4 times in the Champions League.
He's trying to play out of the back there, right? If mistaken me if I'm wrong.
Or he left.
Do you think
He's
that's...
punting. He's punting out of the back. It's not like he's with his feet. He's trying to pop a ball over a forward and onto the right back. He has the ball and he's punting. He's the most simple thing that you can ask from a goalkeeper.
He miskicked it, or he just meant to do that?
He completely miskicked it. He miskicked it. The thing is, for me, it's when you talk about seeing out the game and managing the game there, I've never played goalkeeper, but I have common sense where if I was in the midfield, I'd be shouting at my goalkeeper to say, calm down.
Exactly.
Get up there. I said, wait. Then we get into a certain area and just kick it long. That is what it should be. So as a goalkeeper experience.
Isn't that part of the problem with Pep Guardiola, though? Because I think there was one moment on the game where he is screaming, calm down, and he's more frantic than anyone. There's no calm with Manchester City right now. And in some ways, that was actually the worst possible way to lose.
It is the worst possible way to, but I think, again, with what Grella says, and I agree with it for me, because this is just my opinion of watching the game and seeing how managers act and what they say and what they do. He has to take blame for that because he's taken a lot of personality out of the players in his team. People say Jack Grealish has become a complete different player now. So when you take all the personality and character out of these players, what do you expect? They become so robotic. They have no identity. And it goes to Ancelotti's interview we just witnessed. What does he talk about? Character, personality. That's what he does well, and that's why they thrive. You look at that Real Madrid side, so many egos, so many characters, so many personalities. They're so confident in themselves, and they manage the game with the ball, without the ball. No one tell me about footballing philosophy, because the only philosophy they have is winning, and they got the job done. So when you look at those mistakes there, what do you expect as a manager when you take all the responsibility? Did you ever have a manager like that,
by the way, on the sideline that was just always shouting? And how did it make you feel as a player on the pitch? Did it add nerves to your game?
It was great for me, Poppy. I'm deaf in one ear, so I couldn't hear them. I was just went to the opposite side. So, no, it didn't make a difference to me, though, because I had no problem in taking that burden of responsibility. And you learn with the games that you play how to win games, how to see out games. You read the flow of the games, which is why I said to Nico off air, as soon as Real Madrid got that second goal, I said, Real Madrid are going to win this game. You just know as a player when you've been in these situations,
team in the world
you can feel it.
That can smell blood in the water like Real Madrid. And once they get a whiff of that, they're ravenous. You won't walk out of there alive. And especially if you're cutting yourself and saying, here, let's make the waters murky with my own blood. It's a self-inflicted wound. And again, this goes back to the whole situation about how uncharacteristic this is. We're talking about Guardiola shouting on the sidelines, right? He's a manager that, sure, he can shout, but for the last 15, 16 seasons of football he's been coaching at the elite level, he knows how to transmit that message to his players to keep the ball. How many times have we seen a Barcelona team, a Bayern Munich team, a Manchester City team, up 2-0, up 1-0? Yeah, the game is close, but they bore you to sleep. They bore you to sleep. You say, all right, this is done. You're not seeing the ball. It's frantic.
But then also you talk about the big personalities you're missing, though, because you talk about the Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. You're talking about Company. He was there as one of the big characters. A period of time they had Yaya Toure in there in the middle of the pitch. So you had players who were willing to take that responsibility and be that real leader. I'm not talking about the quality of the players he has at Manchester City right now, but when you look at that team there,
who's not there?
Who's a leader there?
Who you look at, I mean, there are several, but they're shook. I mean, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Haaland should be that leader, but there's something going on psychologically with this team that they're shook. They're blaming on each other. Ruben Diaz going like this to Rico Lewis when they lose. There's something psychologically going on here that there's a leader isn't able to rise from the ashes and take this player forward, to take this team forward. They haven't experienced this.
I would say right now, from my experience of football, and I look at this Manchester City side right now, they are lacking confidence. These players are lacking confidence. They're not bad players. They haven't become terrible players overnight, but there's an element of confidence that's just not there. And it's not just affecting one player, it's affecting a number of them, and that's why they keep making so many mistakes, uncharacteristic mistakes.
The moments will make us talk, right? The fact that they lost the game 3-2 will make us talk about those moments in the game, make us show the play where they made the mistake. But for large parts of the game, Man City got it right. Man City were good. Pep played his football. They played against one of the best teams in the world, and they dominated them for large parts. And I thought they actually kept Rodrigo, Vini, and Mbappe very quiet for large parts. And I almost, the conversation for me was leaning more towards, man, this front three doesn't really look like they're in tune. There was a couple times where they were not in sync, and they kind of got a better opportunity for what they got. And for large parts, they kept them 2-1. They had the lead, and you thought, okay, they're in control.
Yeah, you thought they could.
And then, unfortunately, at the end of the game, the mistake from Ederson, and then the high line at the end of the very end of the game is just such a sucker punch, and it takes away all the good work you did for 70, 80-odd minutes of that football match. And now the talking point is just that you lost the game at home again.